Welcome back, Johny Hendricks here at MMAOddsBreaker. Freshly out of the post office. Now in his truck driving home, I'm assuming, right? Heading to the house, John?
No, I'm heading to go pick up my daughter from, kindergarten.
Oh, from kindergarten. Okay.
Yeah. I know, right?
Wow, man. I feel really old now.
Dude, it just felt like yesterday we had her.
I know, right? So how is the family doing right now? Everyone's good?
The family's doing good. You know, we went to a doctor's appointment today. We're having our fourth one, and, everything checks out good. It's still a boy, so we're excited about that. Yeah, so we're just chugging along, one day at a time. That's really all you can do, definitely in today's society.
Right, yeah. No, exactly. And just do the best job you can every day. So when is the due date, approximate due date?
March 24th.
Okay. So we're looking right now, it's end of November, beginning of December. So you're looking at like 4 months essentially, before.
Yes.
I got to ask, are you going to try and get back in the cage before the baby's born, or are you going to wait until after he's born?
No, I want to get in before. I want to get in before so that way I can because here's the thing is I want to get in before the baby so that way I can have a little bit more layover. So that way she can have the baby. I can help her out, because realistically, you've had kids. And it's not, you have about a month period where you got to do a lot more work to help your wife out. The last 2 weeks of the pregnancy and the first 2 weeks of the child being born, that's really the most important month to have at home. So that way I can, you can help her get back on her feet. And not only that, to sort of help her get everything lined up. So that way whenever I do go on a camp, I can sort of start slowly working myself back into training. And she can find out, okay, what's going to happen here, what she needs to do, and everything. So that way, whenever I do go full-blown training mode, that she has everything figured out.
Okay. So have you had a conversation yet with Dana Lorenzo about coming back that soon? Okay.
Yeah, yes, I've talked to Joe Silva, and right now it's sort of hard to see when I'm going to get the fight because as soon as I find out everything with my management group, that's whenever I'm really going to be able to start moving forward. As of right now, we're just trying to figure that out because as soon as they release me, I'm going to text Joe Silva and say, hey, let's fight. That's all I can think about is getting back in the octagon.
So what is going on with the management group? Right now it's just going through the contract and trying to figure out what the exit plan can be?
Yeah, right now it's just sort of, my contract ends up in February. And I don't know if that's February 1st or if it's actually the whole month of February. But I don't want to sit there and wait until the whole month of February to fight in March because then you're looking at realistically, my wife has had our kids. Every one of them has been like a week to, I'd say anywhere from a week to 4 weeks early. So even if so that's why I'm pushing for, I want to do the February 6th card, but if I don't get released, then I'll be fighting the March 5th card. And what's going to suck is that, my luck is that I'll be down there about to fight. She'll be calling me saying, hey, we're running to the hospital. We're going to have the baby.
Yeah, that's how it always works out if you're pushing it that close. So
yeah.
So is there ill will right now between you and Team Takedown? Is there, or is it just time to move on? Is it just one of those deals where I've done my 5 years, I got to get up and move on now?
Yeah, no, I did my, I was with them for almost 8 years, my whole MMA career. And, we just couldn't see eye to eye on certain, a couple of things. And it's just time for us to sort of just say, hey, you know what? let's see what I can do on my own. It's just one of those things that, sometimes the best way, and, like I've been telling everybody, I would like to still be able to talk to them, and be casual and be friends. You know what I'm saying? I had a close relationship with a couple of them, and realistically, not being, not talking to them and doing all that kind of stuff. I don't know if they're mad at me or what, but like I've been trying to tell them, it's something that I have to do. I just can't keep doing the same things over and over and over. Now it's time to really focus on, me, my family, and moving forward.
So it's almost like going through a divorce is kind of what's happening right now. It seems like to me, at least, that it's a big problem of what's going to be separated financially, and everyone's feelings are hurt coming out of a relationship. It's kind of like, okay, what are we going to do next? So do you have another management team that's already courting you, or multiple management team that's already courting you for once you get done with Team Takedown and then moving on to the next step? You already have another management system in place or getting ready to be in place?
No. And here's the thing is now, realistically, where I'm at, I don't need a manager. And if I start going the opposite way where I do need a manager, it's time for me to hang up. You know what I mean? Hang up the gloves and freaking retire, because you're not going the right way. And so realistically, I don't want to just fight the fight. You know what I mean? I want to fight to win. That's really where my head's at. And like I said, right now, I'm ranked number 3, and I want to get back to being number 1. Well, if I call them up today and say, hey, how do I get back to number 1? It's by doing this. Let's do it. When? This date. All right, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is for me right now. So, and with the Reebok deal happening and all that kind of stuff, you really don't need. I already have a company that does my my sponsorships and stuff like that. So, again, my management group, all they do is just answer to Dana and Joe Silva.
My understanding is that Team Takedown kind of they pay all your bills, all your living expenses, everything kind of that you need to survive to get you through camp, and then they take a percentage of whatever you win or whatever you make from your appearances and from all that kind of stuff. Is that true? Where they pay pretty much all of your bills up front, and then you pay them back through your fight purses?
Well, what's been happening is I wanted to take a lot of burden off of Team Takedown. So for about the last year and a half, I've been doing everything on my own. You know what I mean? Paying for everything on my own that I can, and because I wanted to go to other people, and. That yes, and then they so what they do is they'll pay so much, and then what they do is whenever you pay so much, you pay them back, and the concept's great, but there's also a point where you gotta sit there and say, okay, the return and all that kind of stuff is it's a numbers game, it really is, and I know now that I've done my part. Okay. And
I mean, let's be
I'm
honest.
happy.
Let's be honest. For a long time, you were the face of Team Takedown. Like, you were the face of the entire program. So you've done, more than, at least from the outside looking in. Obviously, I don't know the numbers, but from the outside looking in, it looks like you did more than everything that you needed to do as far as from a financial standpoint, because we could see the public numbers of what you make when you fight. And, I'm a smart man. Like, I know what train cabs cost approximately. I know what living expenses cost approximately. You can kind of figure it out just by looking at numbers and seeing what's public. And we all know there's stuff that you get that no one else sees. Like, there's private stuff and appearance fees and all that stuff. So, how much of a financial burden is this going to be for you leaving Team Takedown? Like, how much – I know you said for the last year you've been taking care of as much of what you could, you've been taking care of it to relieve the burden from Team Takedown. But now if you break ties completely, let's say they call you today and say, hey, Merry Christmas, as of December 25th, your contract's up, we're going to let you out early. How much of a financial burden is that going to come onto you now, being without a manager and being independent entirely?
You know what? Like I said, I've been that way for now about a year and a half. You know what I mean? And it's all right. Because, you know, the only thing is that, you know, I'm sort of going at it through like the boxer style, you know, like what they pay their coaches and all that kind of stuff. That's sort of the way that I'm doing it, is that, you know, after each fight, I'll have my checkbook, right? This is how much I made. All right, here's the percentages you guys get. There's the check. So they don't have to wait a week to get paid. You know, whenever I get paid, they get paid. And that's sort of the way that I want it. And you know, you also, you know, I'll give them some money up front to help buy stuff, to help do stuff, to help pay for some gas, you know, whatever they can use that money for. That's what I'll do. And then whenever the fight comes, that's whenever they're going to get their big purses. And, you know, right now, you know, I have my boxing coach, Tony Cabela, at Reyes Gym there in Fort Worth. And he, you know, I was like, hey, will you ride with me? And he's like, hey, let's do it, you know. And so I'm sort of, you know, I'm trying to piggyback off of him in a sense of what I should be doing and all those kind of things. And I think it's going to be better because they, as bad as they want to get paid, they know that when we get to that belt, their pay is going to go up so much. You know what I mean? So now their focus isn't, hey, I'm getting paid today, and you know, I'm getting a check every week. They're sitting here saying, I make my money at the end of the tunnel, just like I do. So we're going to work harder. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So that way, when the light at the end of the tunnel comes, we get our hand raised. We all get paid.
Well, I do want to say this. There's this management program or management company now coming out of Bahrain, the country. I think it's called H2H MMA. And they've got Frankie Edgar and a couple other guys on there, big name guys, but they're paying for everything. This is what I heard from some of the fighters. Jose Torres is fighting for Titan, is part of the management program. They pay for everything like Team Takedown does, but they take nothing from the fight card. So what you make from fighting, you get to keep, and they pay all of your bills up front as well. So, like, that's the newest concept that's kind of popping around in MMA. If somebody came to you with an idea like that, I know you say you don't need a manager, but they came to you and said, hey, look, I'm going to pay all your bills, and you get to keep everything that you make. I just need you to do, like, wear this flag or wear this sponsorship or wear this deal or do these appearances, and that's it. Like, would you be up for something like that, or are you so heartily against no more management ever again for me in MMA?
No, I'm not against management. You know, like I said, you know, I've always had a management. You know, it's nice that, hey, you know how much I've been on this phone and doing stuff, you know, at home. You know, I always have my phone on me now. I used to not have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? So it is, there's a pro and a con to everything that you do. You know what I mean? For every positive, there's also a negative, and every negative there can be a positive. And that's sort of the way that I'm looking at this. Right now, it's the best time. You know, I can't sit there and say, yeah, I would love to have another manager, because I would think that you know, I'm trying to give them the opportunity. I was trying to give them the opportunity to counter back and to come back with something. You know what I mean? And they didn't. So now it's just, now I'm sort of just like, you know what? I just want to relax. I want to train. I'll handle my own business for right now. You know, and in 3 months or 4 months, I might sit there and say, holy crap, this is way too much. You know, I need somebody. And you know, I also have KO reps. You know, I'm still working with my guy Orrin over there. He's doing my sponsorships and stuff like that. So, and he's helping me on that aspect of it, which is really good, really nice. And so I still have somebody helping me sort of organize everything. Just nobody on the, talking to Dana and Joe Silva and those guys.
Well, it's almost easier to be the fighter and talk to Dana and those guys than to have your management do it. So you might from that standpoint find out that it's a little bit easier to deal with them that way, and then having a manager. But it's like you said, in 3 or 4 months you could change your mind and be like, I'm out. Last question before I let you out of here. What is your weight like right now?
My weight is under 200 right now. I've been working with nutrition, Lewis, and he's out of New Jersey. Been working with him for about a week, but Thanksgiving, you really can't count Thanksgiving. Even though I tried to eat really clean, even though you do eat clean, it's still Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And you got to go do all this stuff. So I'm doing pretty good, actually. Better than I thought. Like I said, I'm under 200. I can go and hit, if I really wanted to, I could go and hit. I've been drinking about 1.5 gallons of water a day or more. So the weight's doing good. He's just going to do it healthier than I have. And that's what the reason why we had to get somebody like this, because, I don't know everything about nutrition. I know how to cut weight. You've done it. We've all done it. But there's also a point in time where, I thought I was doing everything right and something bad happens. Well, for that negative is actually turning into a positive, because now I have Lewis and I'm sitting there, working with him. And I think this is going to be the best way, because he doesn't believe in cutting weight. He wants me to manage my weight. So I might be, hopefully within 2 months, I'm walking around at 185.
And for you, that's super low. That's really low. Even being, if you can get to 185, you making 170 will be no problem every single time for a fight. And you'll have so much more energy every time that you do fight, because you won't have to recover so much from making weight on Friday night to fighting on Saturday.
Yes, and what he wants is, his goal is to get me to where I eat on Friday morning, the day of the weigh-ins. He wants me to eat and drink something, eat and drink on the day of weigh-ins. That's his goal. And you know what? If we can do that, that would be amazing.
That'd be incredible. All right, Johnny. I know we're running right over time here. I don't want to keep it too much longer. Thanks so much for coming on, and I really appreciate you being candid and being open. And I got to be honest, from an interviewing standpoint, I'd like it that you don't have managers right now, because I can actually call you and get a hold of you, as opposed to having to go through 5 steps to get a hold of you for an interview, and then having a schedule, and it's got to be wrapped around these times. And for me, and for the rest of us, to interview you is so much better.
Well, right now it's actually it's easier for me to put in schedules, because right now I'm literally sitting in my car waiting for my daughter, to pick her up. So it actually works out, better, because now I can sit here and say, oh, I pick up my daughter, these days. We can set up times during these days and do interviews and do that kind of stuff, where I'm not I'm not interrupting anybody, and nobody's interrupting me because I'm just sitting in my truck. Yeah,
it's so smart. I don't know, for you, I think you are at that point in your career where not having a manager and being with the UFC is going to be great. If something happens, God forbid, where you still want to continue to fight, but the UFC has cut you, I think you might have to pull up, get a new management team to kind of get you through that transitional period. But right now, with you on a title run and looking for a title run back in the UFC, getting back up towards the top, you really don't need a manager. You're a household name. You're obviously, top 3 guy at the weight class, and deservedly so.
And that's sort of where my head's at right now. All I'm going to be doing as soon as I get cleared from my management, I'm going to call them and say, hey, what do I have to do to get back to the title? And, Dana White, you've fought under it. He's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Or Joe Silva, hey, what is it going to take for me to get back there? It's going to be this, this, and this. All right, let's do it. You know what I mean? And that's sort of where I'm at, where, a management is important, for the smaller shows, and to get up to that point. You have to have somebody that can speak on your behalf and do all these things. and negotiate and all that kind of stuff. But once you hit that stage and you've done right with your managers, then if you wanted to and your contract's up, then you can sit there and say, hey, now it's time for me to move on and go from there.
I like it. That's Johny Hendricks. Thanks, Johnny, so much. We'll talk to you again later, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, sounds good. See ya.